Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Snark Bait. I'm Christy.
I'm Sophie, and today we are diving into all of the lore surrounding the slimy pink menace that is Dave Portnoy.
You
And
gotta
there's a
add
lot to
pink.
cover. I had to add pink. You know, I had to add pink. You know what? Andy is kind of compact too.
Add them to the list.
Yep. Add him to the pink and compact list. We have a lot to cover, so let's dive in.
Let's do it. So, Sophie, how's your day been going?
Christy, it doesn't matter how my day was. It's your birthday.
It's
Happy
my
freaking birthday.
it's my fucking birthday.
Stassi voice. It's my birthday. How has your day been?
It's been so lovely. And I came back from work because I went to the office today and I'm parked into my garage. I walk up and see a beautiful, stunning array of flowers and with the sweetest note from Team Snark Bait. And I also woke up this morning to a beautiful grid post, which to be honest, I was not expecting. It was so funny. Can you walk me through who created that? Like the idea of like which slides?
Oh
The
my God,
Chase
that was
Stokes?
that was all Jenna. That was all Jenna. I was like, Jenna, like I was just like, let's do like cute little like photos of Christy. And she was like, no, I have something better in mind. So Jenna killed it with the Chase Stokes video, the Lames video. Like we know our girl. So you've had a good birthday?
I was grinning ear to ear and I was absolutely cackling at your comment when you go, that second slide with Chase, I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
Why is he like this? Like literally, why is Chase Stokes like this? He makes me so uncomfortable.
And we got so many comments on our Instagram. Wait, did I miss something? What's the beef with Chase Stokes? There's
You
nothing.
guys, there's nothing. Like Chase Stokes has done nothing to us. We just hate him. But like I feel like unlike other enemies of the pod, if you missed this, we're referring to our enemy of the pod, like post on Instagram at SnarkbaitPod. See, that's why you need to follow us because if you're not following us, you miss this. And so many people were like, why Chase Stokes? Hating Chase Stokes is like kind of what brought me and Christy together. Like Snarkbait would not exist had it not been for Chase Stokes, probably.
Something is me and Sophie both have a strong affinity towards the show Outer Banks, and we get it. We get that it's a YA show. We get that we are way above their age demographic. Something about that show is so enjoyable to watch. But the worst part of that show is unfortunately the main character, who's the worst actor.
Yeah, he's the weak link of the show, but he's like the narrator and the main character, John B. Chase Stokes, and something about his like face, he has like the fillers and the Botox. It just like I'm like, you're supposed to be 17.
No, and before
He's
we even
supposed to be a 17-year-old boy in Outer Banks, North Carolina. Why do you have lip fillers? Why do you have Botox in your 11s?
no,
Like,
oh, that's
please.
so fucking real. Because I definitely have Botox in my 11s. Me and Chase Stokes were two peas in a pod.
You really, that's why you hate him. You're like, we're just so similar.
No, but like, I don't know what it is about him. He triggers me. And it's like he has done nothing wrong, to be clear. He just gives me the
Yeah,
ugh,
he's triggering.
ugh.
Wait, so we're recording on Monday, March 3rd, aka Christy's birthday. Did you watch the Oscars last night?
So I did watch a little bit here and there. I did watch the atrocity that was Adrian Brody's speech. What was
Oh
that
my
about?
God. It was so way too long, so tedious, so just ugh. He also, I'm obsessed with everyone just now discovering, by the way, that he is Popsy because he says, Popsy did it, talking about his not technically stepkids, but his girlfriend, Georgina Chapman, has two children with her ex-husband. None other than Harvey Weinstein is
Wait,
her ex-husband.
what?
You didn't know this, Christy?
No.
Adrian Brody is Popsy to Harvey Weinstein's children. And also, did you catch him like when he was going up to the stage, tossed his gum, realized he had gum in his mouth instead of just like swallowing it like a normal person? That's probably what I like. I know that
Yeah.
swallowing gum is gross. I do it when I'm in a pinch. Uh, Instead of swallowing his gum, threw it at Georgina Chapman. She caught it in her hands. She was like in heels, like wobbling, and like caught his used chewing gum in her hands. And then he managed to go on for what felt like 30 to 45 minutes, even though he kept saying, I'll be brief. It was so tedious. It was so just pompous and just, it was not giving what he probably thought it was giving. And also for someone who literally just won the Oscar for Best Actor, he was giving like bad actor. Like he was pretending to be like so like humble and like he just came across very phony.
And I think people were also sick of the fact or just annoyed at the fact that, you're given a specific amount of time to do your speech. The music will cue
Hmm.
when you've kind of exceeded your limit. And you were kind of like arrogant, like you said, pompous to be like, wait a minute, I've done this one before. And I was seeing a lot of conversation on TikTok of people saying, that wasn't giving the way that you thought it was giving. It was just kind of tacky.
Yeah. Actually, Jordan, our producer, just messaged us to say it
Mm.
was actually the longest acceptance speech in Oscars history. That's like so embarrassing. When he like he was like, guys, like cut off like the orchestra that was trying to like get him to wrap it up. Like you lost me. I'm sorry. And also like
Yeah.
poor Timmy.
Okay, that
I
one's tough for
know.
me. Because I just like every time I see him with Kylie, a piece of my heart just like breaks a little bit. Now, I remember when they first started dating, I was like, are they PR? Do you think that I don't think they're PR anymore?
I think he really likes her, and that's why like it would be easier for him to not like her because it's embarrassing that he's with her. So I think he clearly really likes her. I just think it's interesting because the only time he won, which was at the SAG Awards, was when Kylie wasn't there and it was his mom. So I was like, there's no way he's gonna bring Kylie. I know that she's also mourning her hairstylist friend that just sadly passed away. So I was
Jesus,
like, there's
yeah.
no way Kylie. I was like very surprised that she was there. And I wonder if he's like superstitious now. He's like, well, maybe if I just like didn't bring Kylie, I would have actually won.
Yeah, and it's really interesting with the way the Kardashian trajectory has gone. There's all these rumors online about Mason Disick fathering a child, which Courtney later dispelled yesterday. And I think that there's the Alabama Barker, Bad Barbie thing going on, which to be honest, I'm really not understanding because I'm too old for
Bad
it.
baby.
Bad baby, thank you. Um, but it seems like the Kardashians are definitely in a flop era. Their season 6 or 7 of their Hulu show, The Kardashians, just started airing. I don't know anyone that's watching it. And
Oh
it's
my
almost
God.
feels like what was it? What was that?
I was just, no, keep going. Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say that Kylie is kind of holding the family on her back right now. Do you kind of feel that way? And like
Yeah. Without
Kim,
Kylie and Timothy, it's like, what do they have to keep them in the news? Even you guys, and I mentioned this on Trigger Warning Ryan Bailey's show the other day. Uh, because he actually is watching the Kardashians on Hulu. He's like one of like
oh,
8 people maybe watching it, and he says it's so boring. Even my
really?
dad the other day, who does not care about pop culture, like I said, I'm visiting my parents in Florida. My dad was like, "Whatever happened to those Kardashians? You never hear about them anymore." It's like
You're
even my dad has noticed.
Yeah, no, they're definitely in their flop era, and I don't. It was almost kind of jarring to see Kim at the Oscar Vanity Fair party because I was like, wait, whoa, like, what are you
Whoa,
doing here?
you still exist?
Yeah, it was really jarring to see. So, I don't know. I don't know what this means. The Kylie and Timothy of it all is like a whole other separate
Yeah.
conversation. But yeah, their relationship confounds me.
It is definitely confounding. The Oscars in general were kind of disappointing. Like no one that I really wanted to win won except for Kieran Culkin.
A real
Yeah.
pain.
Yeah, Kieran Culkin won for A Real
I
Pain.
love that movie. Have you seen it?
I haven't watched it yet. Everyone keeps yelling at me because it's only 90 minutes and it's about Jewish people. So I know
Hmm.
that I need to watch it, but I haven't. I haven't watched like literally any of the Oscar movies. Now I want to watch Honora, even
I
though a
know.
lot of people are really confused how Honora won Best Picture and that Mikey Madison beat out Demi Moore, which literally is like the
Yes.
plot of The Substance, basically. Uh, so yeah, I need to like get back in the game in terms of like watching movies. I just feel like I've been so out of it. I've only watched like literally Timothy Chalamet's,
Yeah, I don't think I've
like
watched any
Dune
of them.
2 and A Complete Unknown
I don't think I mean, you beat me. I haven't watched any of them.
and Wicked, obviously. Wicked, at least. Oh my God, that was the best part of the Oscars, obviously, was
Chills.
Cynthia and Ariana. Wicked getting completely not shut out because they did win for costume design, and I think that's honestly it.
Hmm.
But they have Wicked Part 2. So like
Yeah.
literally like next Oscar season, maybe it's finally their time. And maybe that's why they didn't win. Maybe the Academy was like, you know what? We'll get him next year.
Now that you're Now that we're talking about Wicked, I have a war flashback of just last night when I was watching TikTok and Remy Bader came onto my
Oh God.
TikTok For You page and she was filming herself watching the Wicked performance and she was sobbing. And I'm just reminded of the carousel Jenna posted for my birthday of her and she tagged it that feeling when Snark Bait Pod posts for your birthday. It was very reminiscent of Remy Bader last night. She's so extra. Like when people turn the camera forward and film themselves crying, it takes a like certain kind of like mental illness to do that.
It really is like mental illness. Yeah,
Really weird.
it's humiliating. Speaking of mental illness, I think we should dive in to our subject today because we have so much to cover. Christy, what are your just initial thoughts on Dave Portnoy and the Barstool Sports conglomerate?
Yeah, so honestly, I don't know if this is like a wet being from the West Coast, and I'm curious to hear what Baby Snarks think. Being from California, Barstool Sports was not part of our repertoire. We were not like really in it. And I actually didn't really find out about Barstool Sports until being introduced to it by like my Midwestern male friends who are all from Illinois, from Chicago. I feel
Hmm.
like Barstool Sports is very much like a Midwestern kind of vibe, like
It
East
kind of
Coast.
is, even though it was founded in Boston because he's from Boston. Um, it very much is like I agree that it does feel very Midwestern. It's supposed to be for the common man, you know?
The common man ethos.
Yes. And actually, this is, I hate Business Insider because they publish some really important articles about Dave Portnoy and they're all behind a
Behind a
paywall.
paywall. Yep.
And I think it's so irresponsible. And I understand that that's how, like, journalism, that's how you have to make money now. But it's like, don't you want as many eyeballs reading this as possible? So I
Right.
can't even tell you who this reporter was because it's behind a paywall. But it's just a really good little snippet from Business Insider that kind of summarizes him very well. Perpetually tan and bearded, or should I say pink and compact.
I think that's the better. Yeah.
Portnoy has built a $500 million digital media empire off of sports gambling, crude humor, and barely clothed women. Barstool Sports, whose slogan is by the common man, for the common man, does for digital media what Donald Trump did for politics. It speaks to the masses. No pretension, no highfalutin language. By the way, I had to look up how to pronounce that word. Highfalutin language, and notably no apologies. The company says it reaches an estimate 54 million monthly unique visitors. In 2020, Barstool was valued at $450 million. Portnoy himself has an estimated net worth of $100 million. So I mean, he's doing something right, unfortunately. Unfortunately for us all. Unfortunately for women everywhere, Dave Portnoy is doing something right. So, who is Dave Portnoy? You might be asking. If you've heard of Stool Presidente is his handle on social media. He goes by El Presidente. He's a 47-year-old man uh, who is the founder of Barstool Sports. And he has a rabid fan base of what we call stoolies. Baby Snarks, I think Baby Snarks could go up against the Stoolies any day, honestly.
And
Like,
when,
and win. These like incel freaks, uh, they're mostly 18 to 35-year-old men. He's
which
originally,
tracks, which
yeah, it tracks.
tracks.
It tracks. He's originally from Swampscott, Massachusetts, which is outside of Boston. The son of a lawyer and a high school teacher. He attended University of Michigan with a degree in education, graduated in 1999. While at Michigan, he founded thegamblingman.com, publishing his sports betting picks. After graduation, he worked at Yankee Group, an IT market research firm in Boston. He left in 2004 and founded Barstool Sports. And his net worth, like I said, is now around $100 million. He owns a Miami mansion, two adjacent homes in Nantucket, and a Montauk mansion.
Like
So
I can't even think about owning that many properties, let alone in the most expensive zip codes in the United States. And I think
it's insane.
what people don't realize about Dave Portnoy is like we know him as this internet personality that as far as I know, and the way that my knowledge of him expands, it's like a very short-lived, but reading this outline, he's been in the game for decades. Like,
Yes.
and I think no matter what you have to say about him, good or bad, he is fucking hustled. Like literally since the 90s. And I think I was actually
Yeah.
talking to my therapist about this today. This
You
is
were
a little bit
talking
of
to your therapist about Dave Portnoy?
no, about like Snark Pod, about yeah, and we were talking about there's a bit of a diversion, but I think like this is just a quick interjection. But I think when a lot of people think about Snark Pod, it's become like what feels like somewhat of an overnight success, whatever you want to call it. It's gotten like a far more downloads than I think a normal podcast would normally get. But the difference
And we're
is,
saying that humbly. We're not
yeah,
saying that in an Adrian Brody type of way. We say that in
yeah.
a, we had no idea that we would get this many listeners after just starting this podcast in what, September, October?
It's been going on not even 5 months, and we've
Yeah.
already. So I think it's something to be really proud of, and I mean that
Hmm.
humbly, but also in a way that we've earned it, and I mean
Yeah.
that because I was explaining to my therapist. I think some people could look at this and say, I mean, God, they just got lucky, they landed on a really good topic and whatever. But like people don't realize that like I've been podcasting since 2018 when I was like doing a
Hmm.
freaking dating and relationship show about dating in San Francisco.
Don't never forget Shade and Fog.
Never forget, RIP. Shout out to my old co-host Emily, who's still a really good friend of mine. But you've been doing this for years. You've been guesting on Ryan Bailey's show for years, and I think a lot of the time we see people which seem like a flash in the pan. Like
Hmm.
an Alex Cooper, for instance, right? Like she started
Hmm.
Call Her Daddy and had really quick success. She's the outlier. She's
Hmm.
not the rule, right? And I think
Yeah.
with Dave Portnoy, I think for me, I incorrectly assumed, oh, he's this quick overnight success. He founded Barstool Sports, it took off. They invented the internet. They have podcasts underneath their umbrella. Founded Call Her Daddy or whatever, had Call Her Daddy under their umbrella originally. But he's like actually been working for decades. So
Oh,
credit where
he
credit is
has.
due.
Yeah, credit where it's due. I mean, he launched Barstool Sports originally as a print publication in the Boston area in 2003, focusing on gambling advertisements and fantasy sports projections. And he would like pass them out. Like he would literally
Hmm.
like stand there on the corner and pass out his Barstool Sports like printed like brochure,
Newspaper.
newspaper,
Yeah.
whatever it was. Yeah, it was a 4-page sports newspaper that he would literally hand out on subways, platforms, and street corners. And he hired young models to hand out the paper also in skimpy outfits, one of which was Renee Satterthwaite. Satterthwaite, I don't know. Later becoming Renee Portnoy because that was his wife. He later married her. Um, it was always meant to appeal to young men, obviously, and like reject political correctness. And one of the early advertisers included an offshore betting website like Part Poker, which operated in the US illegally, which is also interesting. And the funniest thing also about Barstool is that it just like they really, really, really invested a lot in like gambling culture. It's like they just
Mm.
encourage men to become degenerates. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of their MO. It struggled at first, but gained traction in 2004 when Dave started to put pictures of women in bikinis on the front page. And it eventually expanded to an online platform in 2007, broadening content to include sports, pop culture, men's lifestyle topics, etc. I also think that like the user experience of the website has not changed since then. It still feels like a website out of 2007. Like just it feels like an old like WordPress website. It is so janky, their website. Um, and just in general, when people, think of Barstool today and back then, it was known for, kind of profane, misogynistic content.
Mhm.
One of their early features was Guess That Ass. And then Local Smoke Show of the Day was an early one. And then obviously that became a running feature. And that's actually how Alex Cooper became introduced to the Barstool world, was that she was a smoke show on Barstool. And what I also think is interesting, he has like a lot of long time employees that have kind of like been there since the get. And some of them, like there's like Barstool Big Cat, Dan Katz, or PFT commentator Eric Sollenberger. And they're kind of like the less offensive ones. Like they kind of like are like we just want to talk about sports and like be normal and like we're more respectful to women. Like they like try to be like the normal ones. It's like this false perception that they're the good ones and it's kind of like an acceptable point of entry. So you might have like a normal guy who follows Barstool because he likes, Barstool Big Cats take on the Bears or PFT commentators pardon my take or whatever it is. Like they just follow for like the sports takes. But when you really like unpeel the layers, there's like so much like problematic shit.
Are you a listener of any of the Barstool
No,
podcasts? And no
I
shade.
refuse. I refuse. Are you?
I'm not, but I genuinely feel like if I were to listen to any of them, it might be Chicks in the Office.
Yeah,
I
Chicks in
think,
the Office I've heard good things about, but I refuse. Like I
yeah,
refuse to support Barstool Sports in any way. But I've heard
no,
really
that's
good
fair.
things about Chicks in the Office. It's just like I cannot morally like justify that.
And I think they've done a really good job of kind of staying very neutral and objective and removing themselves away from the Barstool brand despite being under the Barstool umbrella. Like they've actually successfully been able to achieve that. And I
Yes.
don't think anyone looks at Rhea and Fran and is like, ew, they're like typical Barstool employees, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree. He's had his like fair share of legal issues. Nothing too serious. Like he hasn't murdered anyone yet. But in 2004, he filed for bankruptcy protection after large gambling losses. He owed 59,000 to credit card companies and $18,000 to his father. And again, that's why I think it's so funny. He like really encourages men to start gambling. It's like, you know what it's like to be in debt from gambling. Now he doesn't have to worry about that because he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But in January 2020, a tax lien for $11,795 was filed against Dave by the SEC. He was detained twice in NFL related incidents. In 2015, he was arrested after he and three Barstool Sports employees handcuffed themselves together on the floor of the NFL headquarters in Manhattan and demanded to speak with the NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell, to protest Deflategate. Which, by the way, like I said, I'm visiting my parents and my dad is listening to this. He's like sitting right next to me and he's like giggling to himself. So that was kind of funny. I'll admit it. I'll admit it.
That's pretty funny.
In 2019, he was arrested and put in a holding cell for a portion of the Super Bowl after creating fake passes to attend a press event the day before. He was not allowed to attend the game. Like Barstool was like banned and he made fake like press passes.
That's kind of iconic.
Like it kind of is. Like he has
It's
his
funny.
moments. He has his moments, you guys.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it.
He's horrendous, but it's fucking funny. You
But
have to
then he
admit.
reminds you again, like, why he's the worst. In
Right.
2019, he threatened to fire employees attempting to unionize, leading to a complaint with the National Labor Relations Board. And in a settlement, he agreed to delete the contentious tweets, which were threatening employees, and notify employees of their right to unionize. Obviously, that is highly illegal. Um, in terms of his like personal life, he's had several public relationships. His longest was with his ex-wife, Renee Portnoy, who again was one of those women that he hired to pass out the newspapers. Married in 2009, after dating since 2005. They separated in 2017. Despite the separation, this I always find interesting. Despite the separation, Renee retains full access to Portnoy's finances, including joint bank accounts. And I think he like seems to really respect his ex-wife because she was with him before he had the
Mm.
money and the fortune and the fame. Um, she has a pretty low profile and may or may not be married to someone else. We don't really know. She has a very low profile. She's currently 41. Yeah, not much to know about her other than that. Um, he in 2017 dated a fitness instructor named Jordan Hamilton. We will talk more about that in a bit.
Yeah.
In 2021, he was linked to Shannon St. Clair, who was 25 at the time. You can do the math. Dave was well into his 40s.
Jeez.
From 2021 to 2023, this is probably who a lot of people are familiar with because she's kind of a popular influencer in her own right, is Silvana. How do you say Silvana's last name?
Mojica?
Mojica. She's
Mojica.
originally from Colombia and they amicably parted ways in 2023 after 2 years together. And Silvana, a lot of her content, I think that she, from what I gathered, she wanted to settle down and marry him. And he is just not about that life. Like he wants to keep the 20 something girls like coming.
But you know
And
what's, sorry to interrupt, you know
no, no,
what's
no, you're good.
interesting about their relationship is most notably, like this past summer in the Hamptons, she was seen in his Hamptons or Montauk
Yeah.
house, and everyone was confused, like, are you guys good or are you not? What was that about? Everyone was very confused about their relationship today.
I think he felt bad for her. Like he was like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep you like, afloat, set you up for success while you kind of like set up your independent life from me. Because how do you go from dating a guy that's worth $100 billion to just like living in an apartment? Like I feel like that is an adjustment. So I think that he was trying to kind of help her out, which again, I don't think necessarily speaks to Dave Portnoy's like benevolence.
You
I
know
just
what's
think he was just like, yeah, you know what? I preyed on this 20-something-year-old girl and got her hopes up that I would eventually marry her after wasting 2 years of her life. And yeah.
people really liked her. Like a lot of my friends that followed her, who are very normal, were like, dude, we love her. She's funny. She's cool. People really had a liking towards Sylvana. And I feel like
Yeah.
she's one of those influencers you would kind of love to hate, but she seems pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't follow her, but like she seems to like have done well for herself and influencing at least. So good for her. In
Love that.
2024, he was dating 25-year-old Cameron Deloya, uh, allegedly. And then he also had a brief involvement last year with Instagram model Sydney Rains, 22 years old at the time. Her and Dave's sex tape leaked. She said it was consensual and that she has no regrets. We will get to that because Dave has had several sex tapes leak. Like I don't know like why he keeps doing that. Um
It's suspect. Yeah.
he's a creep, you guys. And again, there's a lot to cover when it comes to that. We'll get to that. Speaking of being a creep, in 2010, he said that in a blog post, he was defending a man who had been acquitted for raping a 24-year-old woman. He said, I never condone rape, but if you're a size 6 and you're wearing skinny jeans, you kind of deserve to be raped. The post has since been removed from Barstool's site. He later told Tucker Carlson, also a gem of a human.
Oh my
Wow.
God. What a great guy,
What
right?
a great guy, right?
Great morals.
Portnoy told Tucker Carlson there was only one part of the statement that he regretted. I thought size 6 was like a size 20. I had my measurements screwed up. I wasn't on top of that. So that was the part that he regretted. Um, he was later he was later confronted again in 2012 by a female journalist working for Inside Edition. And he said in 2012, I stand by that. I think it's a funny joke. And then she goes, "Do you know how offensive that is?" And he goes, "No, I obviously don't." And he's wearing like a tank top in the interview. Like he's just like just so unserious. In 2011, I had never heard of this until like we started doing our research on Dave. I did not know that in 2011 he posted a nude photo of Tom Brady's son, then a toddler, on Barstool's website. And he would not remove it until the police showed up at his door. He also made a comment about the size of this toddler's junk. Let's just say that, which is disgusting,
No,
obviously.
I know it is. It's disgusting.
It's just so outrageous.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, yeah, he said, you know what? I'm not even going to read what he said because it is so disturbing. Massachusetts State Police came to visit him. He was banned from Boston sports radio WEI, and Howard Stern scolded him on air. You know, when you're getting scolded by Howard Stern, it's bad. Um, So Barstool Sports would also do these live events called blackout parties, and they were kind of like electronic dance parties, which were very popular with college students. Like they would do like college tours and concerts and trying to promote their brand to this like young audience. Thousands of college age young adults would go to these until police eventually shut them down because they were heavily alcohol fueled, a lot of underage kids, and people often ending up hospitalized for intoxication. He also said at one point that if a woman passed out and was raped at one of these blackout parties, it was kind of a gray area.
I think
So,
at one point, when a person has made multiple quote unquote jokes about being sexually assaulted or raped, when does it become it like
it's not a
super,
joke. Like that's
it's
like a
not a joke.
pathological like fantasy of his.
Correct. It's so insidious and so disgusting. And we'll talk about it more when it comes into light in 2021 when huge allegations basically sparked from a Business Insider article. But this is just t tiny little breadcrumbs that are leading up to all the allegations that later come up, which to me are totally legitimate and seem to be very supported by many a
Yep.
witness, many a what's that person a victim,
Yep.
not a witness, a victim. This is
Yep.
just disgusting and very triggering. We will put like a trigger warning, I mean, in
Yes,
the episode description.
absolutely.
This is obviously very
Absolutely.
triggering because this man is does not respect women, period.
Like I said, he's a menace.
Yes.
In 2013, in an interview with NBC News, he says, "We don't back down from controversy. We fan the fires. People think we go out of our way to create it, but we don't. We're not trying to gain new readers by being crazy outrageous. Our readers get what we do. And I don't think about what it's going to look like to the outside world. I don't really care." So he is always kind of just like courting controversy. And that's just what he does. That's kind of like what Barstool was built on, was kind of just like being like the anti-politically correct mainstream media. Like they're kind of like the bad boys of media. And he really embraces that and just like completely courts controversy and does not give a fuck if he offends anyone. And he says as much several times throughout his career that he literally does not care. In 2013, he also ran for mayor of Boston, identified as a libertarian, raised over $17,000 in campaign contributions, but didn't get enough nomination signatures to qualify for the ballot. So thank God for that. He also started his one bite pizza reviews in 2013, which I feel like a lot of people like know him for. Like
Yes.
they really have become such a hit on social media. And the New York Times at one point called him one of the most influential people in the world of food social media that can change the fate of a pizzeria with a single utterance. So I will like give him that. I feel like from what I've heard, he's helped a lot of small businesses and pizzerias from doing his one bite pizza reviews there.
And I feel like I could be making this up, but in 2020, I think he did a lot to give back to restaurants in New York City. I could be
He
making this
did.
up.
I have that. I have
Yeah.
that. And we will give him his flowers
Yep.
for
Yep.
that because that's what we do at Snarkbait. We will
Shades of
give you
gray.
their shades of
Yeah.
gray. We will give you your flowers if you deserve them.
Yeah, we love supporting small businesses, and that's great that he's able to use his large platform to uplift businesses that wouldn't
It's like
otherwise get that credit.
one of his few redeeming qualities.
Very few.
In August 2023, actually, he had an altercation with Charlie Red, the owner of Dragon Pizza in Somerville, Massachusetts, after saying the pizzeria was a floppy mess. Negative Yelp reviews flooded Dragon Pizza, and they received prank calls and harassment. So, with great power comes great responsibility because even though he really can help a small business, he also can hurt a lot of people with his platform, and he is not scared to do so. Um, in a 2015 blog post, Portnoy said, "I am voting for Donald Trump. I don't care if he's a joke. I don't care if he's racist." Like I said, he does not care. "I don't care if he's racist. I don't care if he's sexist. I don't care about any of it. I hope he stays in the race and I hope he wins." Why? Because I love the fact that he is making other politicians squirm. I love the fact he says shit nobody else will say, regardless of how ridiculous it is.
That is the definition of white privilege.
Yep,
Like that
sure
that
is.
entire sentence, no matter what your political beliefs are, that is someone who doesn't have to worry about any of these
He doesn't
things.
have to worry. Why would he care? He
Yeah.
does not have to worry. And Barstool's also gone through a significant amount of like ownership changes. In 2016, the Chernin Group acquired a majority stake in Barstool. They also in 2016 launched Barstool Radio to discuss on Sirius XM. Hey, Alex Cooper, to
Yeah.
discuss sports, pop culture, and current events. In 2022, Failure again. Barstool Radio is canceled. Dave announced cancellation, influenced by internal dynamics and content direction. In 2023, Barstool Radio was revived. Like, just die already. Just die.
It's like the Nine Lives, Cat with Nine
It
Lives.
really is, with host Francis Ellis, Kelly Keegs, and a few other big Barstool names. And it is now headquartered in Chicago with 12 broadcast and podcast studios, three video studios, a green screen, and a cyclorama, whatever that is, a cyclorama. That's what fancy radio stations have.
Soon to be at Snark Pod Studios, a
Soon to
cyclorama.
be at Snark Studios. Let's look up what a cyclorama is. Oh, it's a panoramic image or a curved wall or curtain that creates the illusion of space. Okay, why? I don't know why that's like a fancy thing that radio stations have, but apparently it is. Um, so yeah, it's basically like a media broadcasting conglomerate at this point. It's not just the blog. It is a major podcast network. You know, you have Brianna Chicken Fry, like Plan Brie, BFFs, Pardon My Take. There are so many major podcasts under the Barstool umbrella. It's pretty insane.
And I
Yeah.
think back in 2017 or 2018, when Call Her Daddy was acquired by Barstool Sports, I feel like that was, at least for me, right, being kind of an objective person outside of the Barstool universe, I feel like that's when I kind of began to be even more
Mm-hmm.
introduced to Barstool. They kind of brought in this female audience that they wouldn't otherwise have
Yep.
through the acquisition of Call Her Daddy. And I feel like it kind of sent them
Yes.
into a different stratosphere than they already were, which is already
Yes.
huge.
Yes, because so much of their content has always been misogynistic, but then when they have like chicks in the office or Call Her Daddy and they're like, actually, we're like really pro women, like, see, see, and then like,
Yeah.
you know, women eventually are like, oh yeah, you're right, like, sure. So now they have an even bigger audience. It's insane. And speaking of women, Erica Nardini in 2016 joined as their CEO to make Barstool kind of more professional and more palatable, because prior to 2016, it was kind of like the wild, wild west. And then in 2016, they were like, let's be serious about this business.
Do you know what it's kind of giving though when they bring on these female-led podcasts? It's like, I'm not racist. I have black friends, you know? That's what it's kind
Yeah.
of giving.
Yeah. Apparently, she beat out 74 men to become Barstool's new CEO. But whatever. I feel like, again, it feels like tokenizing, which she had her own podcast called Token CEO, because I feel like that's probably a running joke with them, whatever. So even though Erica Nardini was brought on in 2016, that did not stop more controversies from happening. From 2016 to 2018, Dave filmed one of his employees in the shower and posted it without his consent.
In what world? Like what?
I know.
Like
He
what?
told then 20-year-old Rhea from Chicks in the Office that her looks would deteriorate by age 25 and that no one would want her in front of the camera. I remember when this happened, she was like extremely upset.
Well, let's not forget when her and I think his name was Hank was her boyfriend at the time back in like 2019
Yeah.
when they and he was also a Barstool employee when
Yeah.
they broke up. Dave like got in the middle and started humiliating Rhea all
Oh,
over the
yeah.
internet, all
Always.
over Instagram. He
Uh-huh.
loved to be so misogynistic and not only just be misogynistic to one's face, but plastering it all over the internet.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's fucking, I mean, props to Rhea for being able to handle that like a
I know the fact
champ.
that she still works there is insane.
Yeah.
He also wondered on air if Harvey Weinstein should be able to exchange movie roles for consensual sex. In a 2017 episode of the podcast Barstool Radio, during which Portnoy seemed to defend a hypothetical casting couch scenario. So, say Harvey Weinstein to a struggling actress says, hey, if you sleep with me, I'm going to put you in a starring role. And Dave said, it's no force, just a question. Do you have a problem with that trade? Yes, that is coercion. That is literally coercion. That's
Yeah, and I'm
coercion. Like
and
that
I'm
is
pretty
still that is still rape.
and I'm pretty sure that's also sexual assault because you're asking them to give you their
Yes.
body for financial gain.
It's coercion. Like
Yeah.
that is yes, that is not okay. Obviously. Uh he made blog posts, and we'll get into how much he attacks women journalists, any woman with a platform. But He made blog posts mocking the appearances of women executives at Deadspin. He defended political commentator and piece of shit Corey Lewandowski, who said womp womp about a 10-year-old with Down syndrome getting separated from her parents at the border.
What?
He he laughed at that and said that that was funny and hilarious. Him and his cronies. In 2017, sportscaster Elika Sadeghi leaked the terms of a Barstool contract she was offered after the company pursued her for an on-camera position. It said in the contract, I understand and acknowledge that as part of my job, I may be exposed to speech and conduct that explicitly relates to sex, sexual orientation, gender, national origin, religion, disability, and age. I expressly agree and represent that I do not object to being exposed to such speech and conduct and do not find it otherwise offensive or objectionable, and that I am willing to work in such an environment. So you're basically saying, there's going to be like sexual scenarios in the workplace and inappropriateness in the workplace and probably harassment too. And you are legally, because you signed this contract, not able to object or be offended by it, which is crazy. Uh, in 2016, employee Keith Markovich wrote a blog post in which he described a 16-year-old girl as hot. And Barstool radio host Patrick Connor described Olympian Chloe Kim, then 17, as a little hot piece of ass. Patrick Connor was fired at least. The other guy wasn't.
Oh my God, that's so disturbing.
Barstool's main Twitter account shared a video in which Portnoy sang the N-word. Um, and then also a Barstool intern named Cervix Killer sent repeated and highly sexualized texts to another female intern. And then Portnoy's response to this was, I guess when you hire somebody who calls themselves the cervix killer, who wears a cervix killer t-shirt to the interview, you get cervix killer stuff. Classic mix up on our part. He said, cervix killer was let go because subtle sexual harassment is fine and dandy. Cervix killing in the DMs, though, well, that's crossing the line. So his problem was just that it just became too overt. And also he wore a cervix killer shirt to the interview and he got the job. So,
But as long as your sexual harassment is subtle,
yeah. Yeah, of
move
course.
forward. Keep going.
So ESPN gave Barstool a show in October 2017 that was canceled after literally one episode. It was bringing the popular podcast part in my take, which is extremely popular, to television. And it just like immediately got backlash because people were like, why are you trying to like mainstream these degenerate, horrible men? ESPN host Sam Ponder in particular was extremely vocal about how inappropriate this was because she herself had been harassed and bullied by Dave. He called her a fucking slut who should sex it up and be slutty. And this is in a 2014 Barstool blog post. He said her primary job requirement should be to make men hard. And she should just sex up and be slutty instead of like being a working mother. Because I guess she brought her child to the sidelines at one point, and he said he didn't want to see her kid and that she should just slut it up. So she was very vocal about it. So amid mounting pressure, ESPN canceled it after just one episode. And of course, this just reinforced Dave's like perception that we're like the bad boys of the media industry. We're the outsiders. Like no one gets us. So apparently this is what happened when this all went down. So the ESPN executive mulling over the situation turned to his computer and typed www.barstoolsports.com into his browser. As he scrolled through the blogs on the main page, he came across a headline that took his breath away. Is this pumpkin trying to get the pipe? A Barstool blogger named Uncle Chaps had posted a picture of a pumpkin with holes in it that looked vaguely similar to a woman's private area. So I think ESPN shortly realized that they made a mistake. Yeah. And then I know we mentioned Jordan Hamilton, a woman that Dave briefly dated. This was called Cuck Cycle when this all happened in 2017.
Because she was a Soul Cycle instructor.
She was a Soul Cycle instructor, and Dave alleged that she slept with her Soul Cycle instructor, or I guess a colleague of hers. And he basically launched this massive, massive campaign against them, slut shaming her, trolling Soul Cycle under the term cuck cycle, cuck being short for cuckold. Um, when Portnoy saw a message from SoulCycle's corporate office advising studio managers on how to deal with harassment from stoolies, he tweeted, "Best way to avoid calling 911, don't have your instructors fuck the girlfriend of the head of a major media company." And Jordan Hamilton said that it was really, really, really tough for her and her family. And again, this is a pattern for Dave that he just frequently harasses female journalists. Like, it's just a pattern of his. It also doesn't matter if you're, I mean, it does matter because he is so misogynistic. He's extra brutal when it comes to women, but he does the same thing to men that go against him. Um, Again, the Stoolies are insane. They're rabid. They are just whoever his enemy of the moment is, they will do his bidding for him. Like they are willing to go into war for him. And like just to put things into perspective, as of right now, Dave has 5.5 million followers on Instagram, 3.6 million on Twitter, 4.3 million on TikTok. And that is not to mention Barstool's 17 million followers on Instagram, 6.3 million on Twitter, and 45.8 million followers on TikTok, which is insane to me.
Yeah, and I think he metastasizes all of this negativity and harassment using the power that he knows he has on the internet. He self-proclaims himself to being he's like, I founded the internet. Like, I'm the one who founded like
Yeah.
internet media, social media. He uses that to his advantage to the nth degree. I mean, look what he did to Sophia and with an F and Suit Man when the Call Her Daddy divorce came about. He
Yeah.
knows his influence on the internet and he uses that to the utmost of his advantage at typically the demise of a female who's
Yeah.
calling him out for his poor behavior. It's
Absolutely.
it's it's so
It's almost
yeah.
like, and I know that it's not the same. So, like, don't come for me, Swifties, but it's almost like Swifty level of devotion. Like, if
Yeah.
you go up against Dave, like, the Stoolies are gonna crush you. They are going to just destroy you on the internet. And that is how Swifties are. They're just extremely rabid.
But I
Uh,
think the difference with, I agree with you. I think the difference with Dave Portnoy versus the Swifties is Dave encourages these people
yes,
to go
yes,
after these
yes.
victims, whereas Taylor Swift, these people are fucking crazy on their own. They don't even need Taylor Swift to tell them to do anything,
He
myself
abs
included.
Yeah, he absolutely encourages it. And also,
Hmm.
like, not to mention that just these stoolies, quote unquote, a lot of them are like just scary men that do not have boundaries or morals. And there's a lot of incels. Just like really, 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 it's a scarier audience, in my opinion, when it's
Absolutely.
made up of just mm, incel-y men. And not saying that every stoolie is an incel, but a lot of them are with violent thoughts. Like it's violent. Like their threats against women are violent, as you can imagine. In 2018, Daily Beast reported on this, and they post an article called "Inside Barstool Sports Culture of Online Hate." They treat sexual harassment and cyberbullying as a game. Several female sports writers recounted the harassment they received from Barstool stoolies, and placed much of the blame on Portnoy, its misogynistic troll king. So, other things that he said about Sam Ponder was that her daughter should have been aborted, which he denies this, although it was apparently on video. He told her to stop posting pictures of her ugly kid. He called her a liar, insane, and a scumbag. He said on his radio show that he would slowly suffocate her online. And
What?
again, this is kind of harping back to the fact that like they will not let up. When they find an enemy, they will suffocate someone online. Deadspin's Laura Wagner reported on this, and they set their sights on her. He made very sexually violent comments about her. He said he wanted to shove his tongue down her throat. Um, a lot of anonymous female reporters contributed to the story, and they said they've been doxxed, threatened. Even the reporter of the Daily Beast article himself, Rick Silverman, was literally doxxed. His home phone number was plastered all over the internet. Um, Dave Portnoy defends himself and says, I gave two girls their own radio show. We have hired girl after girl. They say it's a great place to work.
Again, I'm not racist. I have black friends. That is exactly
Exactly.
what this is giving.
Exactly. Podcaster Allie Weiss was harassed after she appeared on Barstool. Comments included calls to kill her and jabs about her shitty sense of humor, her shitty eyebrows, that she looked like a man, etc. Very appearance based. And again, it's not just women. Um, a private equity investor, Bob Murchison, uh, he was kind of vocal about the fact that Barstool made transphobic comments, and he warned advertisers of Barstool making transphobic, misogynistic, and racist content. And then in 2019, a Barstool employee tweeted his phone number and email address. His home address was posted on fan run message boards. They sent him death threats and packages, including one with an object meant to look like a bomb and another containing feces. They staged a prayer vigil in his hometown that was also attended by Barstool employees. So again, it's like Dave is encouraging his employees to like do this. Contacted organizations with which he was affiliated to make false claims of criminal activity against him, showed up at his house. They filmed videos of themselves trespassing, etc. Um, Dave has also hired someone specifically to harass people.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? It's like with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni and them hiring like bot farms. It's almost like not even the bot farms. He's hiring like real life people to go out and do his dirty work. It's like scary.
It's terrifying. He's a terrifying person. Also, since 2019, like I said, he's had a lot of sex tapes leak. And we'll get more into this, but one of the sex tapes that leaked, he's violently choking a woman using a collar and a leash. The stock price of Barstool Sports parent company plunged when this came out, even though he said it was consensual. And we'll get more into that.
Did you
Uh,
watch it, by the way, Sophie?
I wish I hadn't.
Me too. It's really disturbing. Hold.
Extremely, extremely disturbing. So moving on to 2020, we talk a lot about the Alex Cooper Call Her Daddy divorce that happened in 2020 on our two-parter Alex Cooper episodes. Dave played a major part in kind of like bullying Sophia Franklin to the brink of like almost death. And also Soup Man,
Yeah.
Peter Nelson, who was her boyfriend at the time. So he just like, he's such a freaking troll. Like, he's just a troll. He made merch. Like, him and Alex Cooper profited so hard from bullying them. It was insane. A 2020 Barstool documentary series produced by the media company features Portnoy forcefully digitally penetrating a sex doll while donning a tuxedo, later declaring himself the Finger King.
I actually got chills on my spine. Like, actually not exaggerating. That's so disturbing and sadistic
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
gross.
He is, like I said, mental illness. Amid Black Lives Matter protests in 2020, Portnoy told his content team that if anybody wants to write about politics or mentions white privilege or BLM on either side of the fence, it must be approved by me and only me. Nobody else has the authority to publish anything. It's even written into Barstool contracts that employees need to check their political correctness at the door. He also opposed COVID-19 lockdowns very vocally. At the same time, he did kind of walk back his support for Trump in 2020. He interviewed Trump that year at the White House. And in 2022, he said it's dangerous to vote for Republicans because they will appoint justices who are too conservative to the U.S. Supreme Court. Condemned Roe v. Wade ruling. So I think what it comes down to is that when it finally affects him, aka if he gets a girl pregnant
Yeah.
and she wants an abortion, she can't get an abortion, and then he's stuck with, child support for 18 years, that's when he's opposed to it. But again, I will say that, you know, Barstool did something right in 2020, which was they raised a lot of money to support small businesses affected by COVID-19. They raised over $39 million. So again, flowers Flowers where it's due. In 2020, Penn Entertainment, Penn National Gaming purchased a 36% stake in Barstool Sports for $163 million. The next year, Penn National stock joined the S&P 500 index. Dave suddenly was newly accountable as part of a publicly traded company. So Eric Shippers, Penn National Senior Vice President, told the local news site Billy Penn in an email that the company was confident Barstool has the right guardrails in place to ensure that their comments won't negatively reflect on Penn or the gaming industry in general. He said this included comments that might be deemed as harassment or discrimination of women or minorities. So it's like suddenly you're like, no, yeah, it's going to be fine. Is it though?
Yeah, and I think later on, I believe in 2021, I apologize if we're going to get this in the outline later on, but he later bought back
Yeah.
Barstool for a single $1.
Yeah.
Basically, the company that acquired Barstool Sports said this company is literally worthless to
Yeah.
us. Buy it back for whatever price you think is appropriate.
Yep.
So it just kind of shows you that, I mean, he's still a millionaire, so I guess he's doing something right. But
Yeah, but
to a
things,
no- yeah, to a normal company, it's like this is a joke.
yeah, tides are definitely shifting, thankfully. And we'll definitely get to that. Um, they also launched Barstool Sportsbook in 2020, a mobile sports betting app. It was introduced in Pennsylvania in September 2020 and then expanded to Michigan and Illinois, aiming to compete with established players like DraftKings and FanDuel. And again, it's like they're just like encouraging men to be degenerates. Like, I'm sorry. I just do not see the appeal in sports betting. I know like Henry will do it. Not like this. He won't be one of those freaks that like loses thousands of dollars on an app. It'll just be like when a game is on, he's like, yeah, like uh anytime TD by Debo Samuel or like whatever, like which I think is normal. But like I think that Dave Portnoy is like turning men into degenerates with these initiatives, in my opinion. So in 2021, this is when the Business Insider expose gets dropped. It's incredibly disturbing. So trigger warning for what we're about to discuss. And yeah, Christy, you had mentioned this. And just before we dive in, I think that like something that is so fascinating about Dave Portnoy is that he truly is something that we've talked about is like the Oshry sisters. The Oshry sisters uncancelable. Dave Portnoy is literally uncancelable. Like
Yeah.
he's because of his rabid fan base. They will never turn on him. They will defend them to the death. They will defend him to the death. Uh, it's just, and the fact that he like just loudly opposes every single person who comes out against him and kind of convinces you. He'll talk to the camera, post a video, and you're like, you know what? You know what? Like, he's probably telling the truth. There's something so manipulative about him.
Yeah, I remember when this article came out, and I distinctly remember where I was. I was at a wedding in Hawaii, and I was talking to a good friend of mine who I is like a normal, straight white man. And he, I can't even believe this conversation I was having with him now that I'm recounting it. It's exactly like what you're saying, where he's created this platform of being, it's not even shock value anymore. It's just who he is. He's unapologetically himself, horrible values, horrible moral compass, and people almost give him the benefit of the doubt because he owns it 100%. And this guy that I'm friends with was like, and we'll get into the allegations of what she said, but he said, I don't lie. And his whole personality is I don't lie. So why would he be, Christy, why would he be lying about this encounter that he had with this 20-year
Yep.
old? Like, come on. It's like you said, they're just like, come on, it's just Dave.
Exactly. It's like such a cult of personality. It
Hmm.
really is. But in this Business Insider expose, which again, I was pissed off that this was behind a paywall because I think it was so important for this to reach as many eyeballs as possible. Several women alleged violent and humiliating sexual experiences with Dave. He filmed the women without their consent, hence the multiple sex tapes that have leaked. He, of course, claimed everything was consensual and denied the allegations, filed a lawsuit against Insider over the articles, which was later dropped because he was You know, he knew he couldn't win because they were telling the truth. Insider spoke with over 2 dozen people with direct experiences with Dave and Barstool, including 8 current and former employees. Some girls as young as 19 said they had explicit online exchanges with him. Some said they had sex with him and that it turned frightening and humiliating. One said she was suicidal. 2 women said they were choked and filmed without their permission. Madison, a 20-year-old college student, recounts how she connected with Dave via Instagram. He was 43 at the time. Um, Basically, she says she felt like she was a human sex doll. She was being raped. He taped her and spit in her mouth and choked her so hard she couldn't breathe. She said she was screaming in pain and would shout, "Too much, too much." She said it was so painful. I kept trying to get away. And he was like, "Stop running away from me. Stop running away from me." By the way, this is a 43-year-old man and a 20-year-old girl. So just
The
to put that
pout.
into perspective once again,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, and he wouldn't stop. So again, allegedly, but that is rape, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A similar experience with a
Wait,
19-year-old girl
really
named,
quick, really quick on this incident. So
yeah,
she alleged in her claim to Business Insider that she was so appalled by the sexual encounter that they had had on their first night that she decided to sleep on the couch both nights. And I rewatched Dave's video. It was like a 12-minute video that he posted on X in 2021 after this article was dropped, addressing these rumors straight on. And he said, I've had several encounters with people I've met on the internet that as much is true. We all know it's true. And he said, I would not even known who was making these allegations until I read the part about the couch. And he even claimed in his own words, he says, I know exactly who this girl is. I remember she did sleep on the couch. And the reason she slept on the couch was because we realized we had different points of view on life, different values in life.
yeah, that's why, Dave. That's
And
why.
and I'm thinking if you fly a girl out and she refuses to sleep in the same bed as you, that it has to be so extreme for something so extreme had to have happened where she didn't feel comfortable to be sleeping next to at night. Like
Yeah.
that to me tells me everything I need to know. And like to be clear, I unfortunately have had probably not many incidences like this, but several instances like this where, and I'm not saying she wasn't raped. Like she definitely was based on this encounter. But what I'm saying is that there is definitely a gray line where it comes to like the first thing that comes to mind is say Aziz Ansari, right? When that whole allegation came out and the woman was so vehement about him making her feel uncomfortable. And Aziz Ansari's response was, I had no idea she felt that way. And that's kind of the same playbook that Dave is taking. And I think,
Yeah, he's trying to say, well, that's not how I perceived it, but you're chasing her and she's screaming in pain. So it's
correct.
like you're lying to yourself then.
Yeah, yeah,
If
because
you're in denial, if you're trying to pretend that you didn't know that she perceived it a certain way, like you are completely in denial.
it's like the cognitive dissonance I was talking about. You're literally twisting yourself into a pretzel to make
But
you
I
feel
also
like that
wouldn't even
experience wasn't right.
I also wouldn't even give him that credit. Like I wouldn't even I would also like think that
Smart enough
nef-
to know that,
he is
yeah,
smart enough to know and he is nefarious enough to know that
yeah,
he was being violent and scary and
yeah.
disgusting.
This sounds like a
Um,
terrifying experience and
it
so
was.
fucking
And
traumatizing.
there are multiple of them. And of course he
Yeah.
tried to smear all of these girls as just they threw themselves at him and they were just desperate for fame and they're desperate
Hmm.
for his money. But a
Flying first
similar,
class.
yeah, like a 19-year-old also had a similar experience. Um, she said he was extremely aggressive with her. And again, this is a man in his 40s. She is 19.
That is
Um,
disgusting.
it's
Imagine Sophie
disgusting.
being a sophomore in college and hooking up with a 43-year-old.
It's
That's
disgusting.
abhorrent.
It's disgusting. She said he choked her also 3 nights after having sex with him. She was suicidal and was hospitalized. Allison's mother found her text with Dave and called the police, but she didn't want to pursue legal action out of fear of retaliation from Dave. And again, it's like the retaliation, like people are scared of him, and I don't blame them.
I wouldn't either. I would not report it. I would be so fucking scared.
Yeah. Ava Louise, an influencer, said that she was messaging with Dave when she was 19 and he was 40, and her parents stopped her from ever meeting up with him, which great parents. Good job, parents.
19?
Yeah,
That's a child. That's disgusting.
exactly. He publicly denied the allegation, saying that all interactions were consensual. He criticized the article, labeling it a hit piece and questioning the credibility of the sources. He claimed that Business Insider tried to find evidence of wrongdoing by him for 8 months. And that was something that pissed me off, was that he like showed like all of these like interactions,
Yeah,
and he
the
was like,
DMs.
see, they were like trying to dig up dirt on me. And it's like, well, that's what like reporters do. That's literally like what a journalist does. Like he was trying to like, and then all of the stories are like, yeah, see, they were trying to dig up dirt on him. And it's like, that is literally what a reporter does.
Hmm.
That's what they do. That's their job. Like, what do you mean? That's not like a gotcha. Oh my God. So yeah, he posted a 12-minute rebuttal, obviously talking to the camera and being all sweaty and scary. Uh,
And he also, did you notice he had glasses on, like a nice collar, like trying to
yeah.
presentable and like, I'm so
Yeah.
professional. I'm a serious
See,
person.
like he's so
It's
manipulative.
very manipulative.
There was a notable impact, though, on Barstool Sports business associations. Penn National Gaming, which held a significant stake in Barstool Sports, experienced a sharp decline in its stock value. And of course, just he accused all of these women of lying, got all of the stoolies on board to discredit these women and accuse them of lying. It's just horrific. There was a second article that came out later in the year, or actually in February 2022. And this was also like, it was so disturbing. I remember I tweeted about this, and actually, I had gotten a DM from one of his victims on Twitter, and I had tweeted about it. And the
Sophie,
president
what?
of Business Insider at the time told me to delete the tweet because it was compromising like the investigation, I guess. And I wish I hadn't, because it had a lot of reach. It got a lot of good engagement, and I felt like pressured by Business Insider to delete this tweet, which is really unfortunate because I feel like more people could see my tweet than could see a freaking paywalled Business Insider article. I don't know why I
Wait,
listened to him.
what did the tweet
It was one of the
entail?
girls whose ribs he broke during
Yeah.
sex. Yeah.
So she reached out to you because she saw that you were covering the story and was like, hey, I
Yeah,
want
that
to tell
I had
my
been,
side.
yeah, like Dave Portnoy has been a long time op of me. He has never been an official enemy of the pod because we haven't covered him before, but he is now added to the list, obviously. Like he's been a long time enemy of myself. Um,
Do you think
but
he knows
yeah,
who you
so
are?
I doubt it. But like, what if he did? That'd be funny.
I
Uh,
feel like you have more reach than you're giving yourself credit for. It's very likely he does know who you are.
oh my
Maybe.
God. Thank you, Christy. Yeah, wow. That's really nice of you, I guess, in this context. Oh, thank you. So one of the women in this article, she went by Kayla, was 21 at the time of the encounter with 40 something frickin' Dave. Dave broke one of her ribs during a filmed encounter. Again, it's very similar to the other allegations against him, that it was super aggressive and violent, filmed her without her permission. She was extremely overwhelmed, started to panic. She said, I'm in this guy's apartment. He's twice my age, famous. I felt trapped. Again, the power dynamic. It's such a power dynamic. She worried that he would become forceful. She tried to leave and figured it was just better to go along with it all. So they have sex. She could feel her skin ripping
Oh,
because it was on
yeah.
a rug. She had a 3-inch long rug burn on her back. He also tried to force anal sex without her permission. She told him no. She says 3 to 4 times. At one point, Portnoy gripped her rib cage so tightly that she felt her body was compressing in on itself. She believes this is when one of her ribs broke. Insider reviewed a patient visit summary dated September 4th, 2017, 2 weeks after Kayla said she and Portnoy had had their encounter. The medical document said she had difficulty taking full breaths
Oh my God.
and had specific site pain and swelling on her chest bone. So,
I'm
yeah,
actually like queasy. Like I
I know
actually
it's horrible. Um, yeah,
very disturbing. This is very I mean, this is what I hate about the culture that is like I don't hate BDSM. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to engage in, but it's you're kind of towing that line of, oh, well, he just likes rough sex. No, no, no. You enjoy actually
It's like Army Hammer.
physically incapacitating people like Army Hammer. Oh, let me
Like,
just carve my name onto your leg.
yeah, like it's like there's a difference between it being fully consensual between both parties, and there is when there's a man who just has a pathological desire to hurt and
Hurt.
torture women. There's nothing
Correct.
normal about that. Like I know like normalize like kinks or whatever and like BDSM whatever, but like
Whatever. Yeah,
the
fine.
Army Hammer brand of like I want to hurt women, but like that's just my kink. Like don't shame me. Like no, that's not normal. Let's not normalize
No,
that. And it sounds like
it's
Dave
not.
Portnoy has that. And
Yes.
they cleaned up her blood.
No, I know.
That's how like just horrible it was.
It's not normal to be so violent in sex where someone is bleeding
Yeah,
and breaking ribs.
exactly.
It's truly horrifying.
Exactly. Um, in the days following their encounter, he kept sending her videos of him having like similar aggressive sex with other women. So he most likely was sending out videos of her as well. And his behavior is so aggressive and erratic that like they're just afraid of him in the moment. Like instead of being able to say, you know what, I'm just gonna get up and leave. It's like you have this 40-something-year-old wealthy, famous man that flew you out and he's extremely aggressive, extremely erratic. It's like, what do you even do?
Well, and also, which is not right, but the women probably felt indebted to him. Oh, he flew me out first class. He has this fancy house. He's showering me maybe with gifts. Like it's almost like this pay to play type thing. It's disgusting. It's a
It's
disgusting
horrible.
dynamic.
It's horrible. So, after these new allegations were made in 2022, Portnoy announced a lawsuit against Business Insider. A federal judge dismissed the lawsuit in November because there's no merit to it. He's the one that doesn't have a case because all of this is true. And he filed an appeal of the dismissal. In February 2023, he dropped his appeal because he's guilty and he knows it. And Portnoy's actions led to significant online harassment directed at the journalists who reported the story. The situation escalated to the point where Portnoy's Twitter account was temporarily suspended after he shared the email address of an insider editor, further intensifying the harassment faced by the publication's staff. So again, it's like this pattern of just like harassment and bullying and just it's just awful. And he always comes out unscathed because he has no shame and he has his millions of dumbass stoolies who believe everything he says. It's very disturbing to think about. It's like you have
Yeah.
credible allegations of sexual abuse, rape, even, and he just gets to just keep living his life
Escape.
because his stoolies prop him up.
Well, and also, what's the probability of two separate women that are very young having very similar stories? Why the fuck would anyone put themselves out there and put out a public claim to Business Insider just for the shit of it? They didn't release
Yeah.
their names. I don't know who these girls are.
Yep.
Like, what do you benefit from this? It's this. I don't understand how anyone could rationalize this type of behavior and just say the women are lying, including my
It's
friend that said that he's not lying. Like, that's fucking
It's
crazy.
insane. It's insane. But it's like, again, it's this cult of personality where they will believe anything this person says. They feel like they know him, you know?
Hmm.
Like
He
it's crazy.
he's affable and he has that like connection with his
He
followers. Like you are
is.
his BF, you are his best friend.
Exactly. I will give him that. Like he definitely has that kind of like you said, affable. Like he's
Hmm.
pretty personable. I could see him not like charming me, but he seems like he's like he's a jokester. He's kind of a class clown, you know?
Hmm.
In February 2023, Penn Entertainment obtained full ownership of Barstool for $388 million. In August 2023, Penn entered a $2 billion deal with ESPN to launch ESPN Bet as its new online sports betting platform. So, Penn Entertainment had spent approximately $550 million to acquire full control of Barstool before deciding to divest, which is insane. This is around the time that Dave bought his $42 million Nantucket home, which is his most expensive residence. Uh,
Crazy. $42 million. Like,
so they lost a shit ton of money, obviously. Dave repurchased 100% of Barstool Sports, like you said, for $1, citing challenges in operating within a regulated industry due to their controversial content. He says, we got denied gambling licenses because of me. He claims he will never sell Barstool again. If Portnoy ever sells Barstool, Penn retains the right to receive 50% of the gross proceeds. Uh, in the first half of 2023, it was reported that Barstool lost $16.9 million and 25% of their staff was laid off immediately after Portnoy regained control. Uh, so yeah, it seems like kind of the tides are turning. And I think, part of it is the fact that just the media industry in general is just, it's not profitable for anyone anymore. Even
Right.
Barstool, who seemed so infallible years ago. Uh, so I don't know. It's either I like to think that people are realizing that by supporting Barstool, you're supporting this, you're supporting this
Yeah.
monster.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know if that's the case or if it's just the industry in general. Um, Either way, back to today, I guess, 2025. Uh, Dave recently launched the meme coin Greed and kind of like the Hawk Tua situation. He alleged, and I know that, like, guys, this isn't like a crypto, like Bitcoin podcast. Like, we don't understand this shit. But apparently, he sold his entire stake shortly after launch, causing the price to crash by 99%. And then he introduced Read 2. So I guess we'll see how that goes.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Like someone who understands Bitcoin or whatever, let us know.
You're basically like, hey, buy in, it's going to be big. And then everyone buys in. And then all of a sudden, the person who said that is like, psych. And then they sell it. And then everyone loses their money and everyone's mad. Um, I don't
I'm a
know.
conservative investor. And I don't, yeah, I'm like, I don't
I
know
don't know
what
how
that
this shit
means.
works, you guys. I really don't. He also is such a freaking clout chaser. I know, I can't remember if we talked about this when we were recording yesterday or like if it was when we were just like shooting the shit like before we started recording, but how he messaged Gabby Windy, who is like the standout
Yes.
breakout star of the Trader season 3. And he was like, I hear you're the next big thing. And she responds, who's this Diva Cup? She's so funny. And she like screenshotted and posted it.
So
And then
funny.
also when the Alex Cooper and like Alex Earl unwell breakup happened that we talked about on this week's Dark Energy Tuesday, we discussed this, how he called Alex Earl
Which we later
and
found out to not be true. He never actually called her.
oh, he didn't?
Yeah, Josh Richards confirmed in Brianna Chicken Fry on BFF's podcast that it was a complete joke.
Okay, well that's good. Good. Okay, I feel
Yeah.
better about that then. Either way,
But
he's a clout chaser.
everyone was saying, are him and Alex Cooper good? Because why would he post that unless he was trying to stir it up? Like, would you post that if you were good with Alex Cooper?
No, I feel like he's not. So, oh, I just saw a TikTok where he was saying, yeah, I believe that Alex Cooper is difficult to work with because now you have all of these Demois sources coming out of like the woodwork saying that Alex
Yep.
Cooper is extremely difficult to work with, that her like reputation is really taking a hit. And I know we talked about this again on Dark Energy Tuesday. And right after we recorded, I saw a new Demois blind.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw the same one. And it was talking also about how her husband, Matt Kaplan, is again running around Hollywood calling her the next Oprah Winfrey. And people are like, you're embarrassing.
Yeah, I've been hearing that rumor for a while that he's been kind of like lifting her up to everyone, and everyone's like, who's gonna tell him?
Like comparing her to Oprah Winfrey is
Enough.
offensive. That's offensive.
Enough. Enough, Matt
Yeah, like
Kaplan.
please, please.
Even though he, like I said, he was kind of a king when I met him.
Oh yeah, you loved him. You were like, oh my God, he had such a good aura. So, did you hear about this Taylor Swift connection, Christy? Do you
Of
want to explain
course.
this part?
Yeah, and I think like what's interesting is that anyone who's controversial, so long as you attach your name to Taylor Swift, saying that you are a Swiftie, that you enjoy her music, Swifties are so we love to bring more people into the community. We welcome it with open arms. We're not exclusive. In fact, we're very inclusive. So the second that you get a Swiftie stamp of approval, you're all in, babe. Like, and then take that to the next level where Taylor Swift provided Dave Portnoy a handwritten note thanking him for coming to the show. Of course, everyone was so infatuated with Dave Portnoy saying, well, if Taylor Swift approves of Dave, we have to approve of Dave. And it's that like,
Disgusting.
it's that halo effect, It's like by transitive property, he has to be good because Taylor
At
likes
least
him.
there's some, I guess there's some Swifties that are upset about this, that they think it's ridiculous that she would be supporting Dave Portnoy after all of these, stories that have come out about him.
Which is kind of on brand for her. It's like you tout one thing and you're also best friends with Blake Lively. That's weird. That's nefarious.
I know. It's like,
And
and
I'm the
like,
first one to be, like, stand up for
I
her, but
know.
that
Yeah. And this is coming from you, a Swiftie. But yeah, it's disappointing to hear for sure. And I think it also kind of like, and again, I don't consider myself a Swiftie. I do like Taylor Swift a lot. I love her music.
yeah,
I have defended her in the past many, many times. But I think she gets accused of being kind of like this performative feminist, quote unquote, like white feminism. There's no intersectionality. There's no actual, like, her feminism just begins and ends with herself. And I
correct.
think that this is kind of like a good example of that because
Yeah.
why are you sucking up to an accused rapist? You know?
And accused, yeah, like misogynist,
Yeah, a
racist.
famously
Yeah.
prolific misogynist and even an accused abuser. Like that's just like there's no part of me that can like reconcile that. Like that just like makes no sense to me. If you are like Taylor Swift who is all about female empowerment and like feminism,
Hmm.
like that doesn't make sense. I'm sorry.
It doesn't. And I think she would be hard pressed to answer for that herself because there's no
Yeah.
excuse.
There really isn't. Um, but yeah, I feel like these are like, and again, there's a lot. There's a lot of lore. Again, he's been doing what he does for a really long time, but I feel like these were like the top line points. What do you think, Christy? What do you think? Did you learn anything?
I learned a lot. I think the most disturbing part of this all is even as early as I think 2010 or something when he said that women that wear a size 6 deserve to be raped. I mean, that in and of itself is glaringly obvious to me that this man fucking hates women and he does not give
Yeah.
a shit whether or not they are assaulted. And he only cares about it when Roe v. Wade gets overturned. And he's like, wait a minute, does that mean I am now like a father of many babies that when I
Yep.
came inside a girl? It's performative, just like he was with Taylor Swift. It's really, really like I think it goes beyond the term dark energy. Like Chase Stokes is dark energy, Jake Shane dark energy. Dave Portnoy should not be in the same category as Chase Stokes and Jake Shane.
Dave,
It's a realm outside of it.
yeah, Dave Portnoy should be in prison.
Hmm.
So that's how I see it at least. And yeah, I mean, it goes without saying that he is an enemy of the pod, obviously.
Put him at the top of the. I mean, who else is
Yeah,
above him?
top of the list, honestly. Like, just disgusting.
And really
And
quick, we had gone live with an Instagram post of Enemy of the Pod, and we had people responding, which we love the interaction, saying like, add Kanye, add who else? Like random people. When we say Enemy of the Pod, we're discussing people we've specifically talked about and discussed. Oh, I think the
yeah.
one thing that triggered people was we had called out Craig Conover, which if you're not familiar, please listen
Oh
to our
yeah,
Craig
they were like
Conover.
Craig, but not Sandoval or Kyle Cook or all these other
Yeah,
Bravo celebrities. And it's like, well, we famously hate Craig and he famously has us blocked. So
correct.
like we're talking about people that we have specifically covered on the pod.
Right.
Our enemy of the pod list is always growing. And it goes without saying that we hate Kanye. We hate Hitler.
Yeah.
We hate Stalin. Like there are some things that don't need to be said, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. I think it goes without saying. But yeah, when we say enemy of the pod, we explicitly mean people we have discussed here. So if you
Yeah.
don't see your most hated celebrity, have we talked about them on the pod? And that's probably why they're not listed.
And trust me, you guys, there's always room for more. Always.
Let us know who
Uh
your enemy of the pod is on
yeah.
Spotify comments,
Who is your
Instagram.
enemy of the pod? Who do you want us to cover next? We always want your suggestions, obviously. You guys know how to reach us. Send us a text. Leave us a 5-star review, please. Follow us at SnarkBaitPod on Instagram. Christy is at XKnowsAll. I am at Soph_Ross on Instagram. And yeah, I mean, I know this wasn't like the most fun episode. There was a lot of like deep, disturbing shit here. So if you made it all the way through, uh, please take care of yourself. I know this is a lot. So thank you for listening. Thank you to Jordan, our producer, Jenna, our social manager, Olivia, our researcher, and just all of you baby snarks. We love you so much. And we will see you on Dark Energy Tuesday next week.
So excited. Thanks for listening, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.